Hey everyone, welcome back to the All Music Matters in That podcast. I'm your host, Brian. Today, I welcome some special guests. We got the boys from the band Side Effects. We got Rogan. And we got Koda.
Hello.
And we got Peyton. So,
Hello.
how you boys doing today? What's going on out there?
We're doing all right.
Yeah. Doing good. Yeah. Beautiful Colorado evening out here for us.
Yeah. It's earlier here than it is for you, I guess. So hopefully we're not
Couple
keeping
hours.
you up too late.
No, that's all good. I still got a couple hours before my bedtime anyway, so we'll work it out. So, I guess, are you boys hailing from Colorado, or are you hailing from a different state?
Yeah. I'm from Colorado. I was born just over the border in Wyoming, but moved here when I was 2. So I'm basically a native.
Yeah, same pretty much Colorado. So most of my life.
Yeah, and I'm also from Colorado, so my whole life. So
That's good to hear. And I guess, so what's new with the band? I guess I was checking out some of what are you doing here on Facebook, I guess. Are you guys doing some live shows recently?
Right on. Yeah.
Yeah. We just recently did a show with a friend band of ours called Equally Challenged. And we played at a place called Avogadro's Number here in Fort Collins. That was a really fun show we put on there.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. That was like kind of starting off one of our sort of target venues we really wanted to get into, and so that was cool. It was our first time playing there, and pretty sure there will be others, but it was nice to check that one off and say we did it. So
Yeah.
It's a good start to our New Year's resolution. I guess, was this just in the month of January, or did this happen right in the end of December there?
It was on the 27th, so just over the border the other way.
yeah, just about. We can call it a New Year's accomplishment, though.
Sure. Yeah.
Close enough.
There will be others. So, I mean, there was something like that down the line, but I thought close enough.
Right.
All right. So, boys, nonetheless, welcome to my podcast right here. And the way it's going to work is, just guys, some questions to get to know the men behind the music, because it's actually a little bit interesting, because when I was checking it out, it's a little different than your traditional jazz band, because guys, you're saying new jazz. So you get to elaborate on that a little bit here too.
Cool.
But
Yeah.
I guess here, we'll work from Peyton, and then we'll work to the left, or at least from my angle. So it'll be Peyton, Rogan, and then Koda will finish it out. So
Sounds good.
Peyton, let's start here with the first one. So tell the audience what role you play in the band, and then tell the backstory about how you became a musician.
Well, I play bass in the band. I've been playing music since I was just a little tiny kid. My mom was the music director in our church, and I grew up playing all of that kind of church music and stuff like that, and was eventually saw a guy playing bass and was like, hey, that looks really cool, and started playing bass somewhere in '98, 26 years ago now.
Don't ask me to do that.
Yeah, I can't do math. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. So
It's just they seem to be 26 if we're saying 1999, since it's. I'm assuming this was later in 1999, like the summer of that. So
yeah, so the summer of '98.
okay, so it might actually be 27 then, if that's the case.
Oh God. Yeah. And I crumble into dust.
It's like, Jesus, I'm old. So
Yeah.
So I guess, did you, play bass guitar or any other instruments during school years?
I played. My mom told me that I needed to learn how to read bass clef, and so I chose baritone. I played baritone for a year in middle school band, and then they took me in and got my first bass, and I was just off to the races from there. Yeah.
So I switched from the band, brass instruments, all the way to the strings. So,
Yeah.
oh, you traitor, you. So that's all good though. So, all right. So I guess, Rogan, what's your story, and I guess what's your role in the band?
Yeah, so in this band I play vibraphone. And yeah, I don't know, I feel like I always have to let people know that a vibraphone, well, it's an instrument like a xylophone, because I found that just a lot of people there don't even know what a vibraphone is. So I guess for anybody that doesn't know, yeah, it's an instrument like a xylophone. You play it with some mallets. So yeah, I started off playing piano when I was really young. I think about 6. Just had a piano in the house, and I took to it right away. So yeah, I played that for I don't know, probably 10, 12 years, something like that. I played piano, and then I didn't realize, Peyton, you and me had a similar kind of moment where we saw somebody else. So in high school, I saw this other kid at my school do a drum solo at one of our school talent shows.
Mm-hmm.
And like that was it. I'd never played drums before, never thought about drums, wasn't on my radar at all. And saw this guy do a drum solo, and it really was one of those moments where it was instant. I saw that, I was like, I want to do that, and like I really want to do it. I knew right away before I'd ever even played. I was like, I want to be serious about this. Like I want to do that. I want to get really good at it, and I want to really like make that a thing. So I ended up getting some lessons and getting really into drums right away, and went off to college for music. So I majored in percussion, and that's where I got introduced to vibraphone, and that was another instrument that just really really grabbed me. So yeah, so now I still play drums. We're all in other projects as well, so still very much active with drumming, but with this band, it's the vibes.
Gotta keep the vibes. That's their
Yeah.
deal. Actually, when I was looking at it too, I normally don't know the difference between like the xylophone and vibraphone. I guess is it more so just like based on sounds, or
Well, yeah, I mean, there's some pretty big technical differences with them. The biggest one, what's that?
There's the muting pedal thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the biggest one is that on the like a xylophone or marimba, a lot of instruments in that family, the bars are made of wood. But a vibraphone, the bars are made of metal, aluminum usually, and there's a dampening pedal that you operate with your foot. And so if you've got that pedal down so that the bars can just ring, if you hit one of those things, it's like a bell. It'll just ring and ring and ring forever. And so a huge part of the technique with a vibraphone is how you work that pedal. You're constantly allowing notes to ring and then having to dampen them. So a simple example might be like you play just an arpeggio, say of a chord, just arpeggiate a chord, and then like after that you want to go to a different chord or start soloing or something. Well, that would be a moment where you dampen the bars really quickly before you start playing the next thing. Otherwise, that chord is just going to be ringing, and within 2 measures, it's cacophony. So that's kind of one of the big things about the vibraphone.
Well, why is it called a vibraphone?
Yes. Thank you, Peyton.
I've been through this.
Yes, it's the vibraphone speech. It's also it's got a motor on it that operates these fans inside the resonators, and so when that motor is going and you hit a note, you get a vibrato effect. It actually does a wah 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 wah, which is really cool. So it doesn't. The vibrato doesn't get used a whole lot, unfortunately. I can see why it gets to be a little bit much, and I think in a full band setting, it can also kind of get lost. So you find that a lot of times in jazz, they just don't even use the vibrato effect on it at all. But it is really pretty, and I think it's got its place.
that's for sure too. Actually, first time I actually learned about that too. I always thought the xylophones had like maybe a different sort of metal that was used. I don't know if it was like aluminum or some sort of iron. So I think that's why people would always assume it's like the same thing.
Yeah, no, pretty different. Yeah, typically a xylophone, or classically they would be made of wood. I think more and more they're starting to use synthetics on the bars for things like marimbas or xylophones, because it was always stuff like rosewood, stuff like that. So as that's getting
Now they use like fiberglass a lot and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like fiberglass, man.
Yeah. It's
My mom plays marimba, and she actually she has a marimba that has bars made out of rosewood. So yeah.
And that's kind of like cool and rare now. It's, as Rogan said, it's definitely that the synthetic options are, or eco-friendly options, and kind of the more popular way to go now. So
Do some
But,
good
yeah.
for the environment. So yeah, that's all.
yeah. Plus,
All right.
good for the wallet too, because the real wood bars, of course, are just more and more expensive now. So
Gotta pay that money. Pay that money.
yeah.
Let's see what. All right. And Koda, what's your story?
yeah, I'm Koda. I'm the drummer. I play drums. I started playing drums when I was about like 13. It's just kind of one of those funny things where like can't really explain like why like kids are just into stuff like whatever like what makes some kids into basketball or like something. And so I was just really into drums like about that age. I actually got signed up with lessons with Rogan. So Rogan was my drum teacher when I was like 13, and taught me like a bunch of stuff, filled my head with all the percussion things, and gave me like kind of the very formal private lesson education. So kind of learned all the academic side of music from Rogan. So that was super awesome. And then I started playing with Side Effects. Been around for a while.
Yeah, we really have. How long has Side Effect actually been around? I think that's the only question that you know at this point. The only original founding member of Side Effect here.
Yeah, well, like a lot of bands, it's come and gone in various had different lineups through the years and stuff. It's kind of been my little dream project for quite a while. So God, I don't know. I mean, if we're being technical, I think it's
Started playing with you guys in 2011.
yeah. So
you guys have been going since before then, right?
yeah, as a duo actually. So
yeah.
it started off as just vibes and guitar. Yeah, I don't know what it's been now, like 20 years or something. On and off, honestly, mostly off, because big surprise. It's hard to get keep a jazz band going. Just in general, it's kind of a tough genre to make a go of it. So there were a lot of times when it just got put on the back burner because everyone involved was involved in other projects as well, and so it was always easy to throw this one onto the back burner when we're busy with other stuff. So, but yeah.
But yeah. When I started playing with Side Effects, we were doing like jazz standards, though very much like in the traditional jazz method. And so we've evolved a lot since then.
Yeah. We had a guitar player for a while. So we were a 4-piece for a minute there.
Yeah.
And then yeah.
And then yeah.
And then yeah.
I guess leading into that question right there, I guess how did you guys meet up too? Because it seems like Rogan, it seems like you were kind of the main instigator behind forming Side Effect, do various lineup changes, and then somehow you meet Koda and Peyton here.
Yeah.
Pretty much
Yeah.
Rogan. I guess everyone wants to chime in too. So
Yeah, it was so brought Peyton on board before Koda, and we were going as a trio for a little while. There's just no drums, and that kind of worked because a lot of the places we were playing were all they wanted low volume. They just wanted background kind of stuff. Excuse me. So we were doing the trio thing for a while, and then there was another phase of it getting put on the back burner, and I forget exactly when it was, but I got the real bug where I kind of said, look, this is a project I've wanted to do for real, not just half-ass it. I really wanted this to actually do something for a long time, and I just hit that point where I kind of said, now or never. Like I got to really commit, and I got to find people who are into it and ready to commit. And so at that point, we hadn't really been doing much. I say it had been on one of its off phases. So talked to Peyton again, and Koda at that point had already like played some shows with us in some of the places where we were able to kind of have drums and play out a little bit more. And yeah, so it was me kind of having the big talk of saying like, hey, I really want to do this. I want to just be a trio because I'm really drawn to that format. You know, we could have a whole discussion on that, go down that whole rabbit hole, but you know, it's a challenge for sure. It can be very limiting, but there's also a lot of cool stuff I think you can do. That forced limitation really forces you to be creative and maximize everything you got. So yeah, so said, hey, I want to get this going again. I want to just be a trio, and want to ditch doing the jazz standards, the classic stuff. Is like, I want to do original music. I want it to be a much more modern style of jazz, really based off a lot of the stuff that I'm much more influenced by. And fortunately, these guys were on board, and they said, yeah, let's do it. And
Yeah.
so yeah, and this is by far the most successful iteration of it that we've had yet. So it's been really cool that way.
This has been a whole lot of fun playing all of the original songs that these guys. It's mostly Rogan, but you guys both had been getting together a little bit before I was kind of like really able to step in there for a second, and you guys did a lot of writing.
Yeah.
And I would come to practices, and it's like, okay, all right, there's this crazy 19/8 time signature that it's probably not that. I don't know what it is. But like, you know,
There might be.
what is it? A bar of I don't know what, but all kinds of crazy time signatures and swishing back feels to this and that, and I was like, okay, all right, this is hard, and I'm in. This is awesome. So
we try to like hit that fine balance between making our music like really like kind of technical and fun for musicians, like fun for us, but also easy to listen to, not just throwing the music like straight in your ears, if that makes sense. You know, still trying to make really good songs, good music, but bringing in that technical element and kind of all those crazy time signatures and weird keys and all that stuff. So
job number one is to make it groove.
yeah.
We've kind of adopted that as our genre. We've kind of gone back and forth. Well, what do we call ourselves? You know, we're not like new jazz because that's its own kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's like, what about groove jazz? I don't know.
Yeah, that's always a nightmare trying to figure out what to call yourself.
Yeah.
So nobody wants to hear when they ask what kind of music do you play. Nobody wants a 5-minute explanation. You can't really be categorized, man. You know, like,
Yeah, without going that direction. Groove jazz.
but it's hard because we can't really be categorized, man.
I was going to ask about that too, because I thought that's what Facebook page. Because
Well, and it's funny sometimes we'll end up playing, somebody will hear our stuff, particularly people who aren't, that into jazz or whatever, and they'll listen, they'll go, that's not jazz. And I'm like,
Yeah, it's like the J.
cool, I'm okay with that response,
Yeah.
Because I think for your average person, again, particularly non-musicians, I think they hear jazz and they immediately go to, big band swing, or they think it's just a whole lot of notes and a whole lot of noise and, some Coltrane kind of stuff. And I think that's kind of the image that most people have in their mind of what jazz is. So it's actually totally fine with me when I play it and people are like, no, that's not jazz.
Yeah. Koda actually recently gave me a book called Effortless Mastery, and I'm only on the first couple pages. Don't tell him. But within the first couple pages of the preface or something like that, it has this statement that says jazz is innovation. And I was like,
Yeah, or jazz has changed.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's not just doing the same old thing over and over again the way we've always done it. It's taking it to the next level, doing something different with what we got, you know.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. There was somebody, I don't have the exact quote, but said basically that jazz is a restless art form. I thought that was a really great descriptive term for it. It's restless by its nature.
I like that.
I think that's pretty cool.
I like that. Yeah.
I don't know, I was gonna say maybe the first part, like jazz is innovation. I thought that one was more catchy, but I think Koda and you guys were right too.
I mean,
I stole that either way. Yeah, and I stole mine from somebody, whoever said that.
I have to put a copyright on this interview now. So like, go Rogan, god damn it. So that's all good. It's all good there too. You know what? I was trying to remember, there actually was a friend of mine who actually got into jazz. He was a drummer too. And not sure what he's been up to recently, but I've always thought of it more as softer, but there was like that funky sort of side at times. Maybe almost like it was trending a little bit on blues at times. So,
Yeah.
I guess, would you guys consider maybe adding more people in the future to maybe experiment?
we often have people sit in with us, and we've talked about, you know, adding horns or something like that for like a bigger festival or something. But I think at the core of it, it's always going to be, the idea is that Side Effect is the three of us, right?
Yeah. I think, well,
Yeah.
that's one I've struggled with. As I mentioned earlier, there's just inherent limitations with being just a three-piece. And sometimes I'll even admit I feel that, and throughout the course of a gig, I'll even be kind of feeling like, man, this is a lot of vibes, and, like, I love the vibes. I think they're really cool and all that, but it can, just start to feel like, like it'd be cool to have some other sounds in there to just sort of break it up and give it a little more variety. So I'll admit that, I sometimes have that thought of, man, if we had, just that one more player. But I think what I keep coming back to is there's so many bands that I listen to that are trios that are very inspirational to me. And I say, look, I'll sit there and I go out to shows a lot, and of course, watching videos and stuff like that. And I'm like, I'll see an entire concert of a trio and not feel bored at all, with the limitation of the sounds out there. And so that's what kind of keeps me coming back to saying, no, if they can do it, then we can do it. And it just forces us to, again, it's that idea of getting absolutely everything you can out of those three instruments. And that's where the challenge comes in the composition and the arrangements, and then just even how you play, dynamics, and coming in, sometimes just staying out entirely. It's okay to have a solo where you give it a full measure of just not even playing, those kinds of things, or where that all leads me to. So.
Yeah.
As you said, drum. It'd be
Yeah.
solo. So yeah. Actually, just real quick, who came up with the name Side Effect here too? Because you hear too much about side effects in like pharmaceutical commercials, so I thought maybe that was just something.
Yeah.
Is there some sort of side effect listening to your music?
Hopefully.
I actually don't know the answer to this question.
Yeah, I came up with the name. There's no deep story or meaning to it. I just thought it kind of sounded like a cool name for a band.
I always thought it was a side project. Is that not
No.
true? No.
No. I
always assumed.
I don't remember when or how it came to me. It's like, oh, that's just kind of a cool band name. So that's it.
Jazzy name.
Yeah. It seemed jazzy-ish. So definitely, with the whole idea of doing original music in the more modern style of jazz, I knew that I did not want to just be the Rogan Magyar trio or something like that. I felt like I wanted a band name, that we are a band. We are not. It's not a band leader with the guys backing him up. We are a band, and we play music that is designed to be a band.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
As I was saying, since he has the same last name or the same name as like Joe Rogan, for instance, too. It'd be like Joe Rogan and his Colorado Hillbillies.
Right. Yeah.
So, that's cool. Actually, I had to throw a laugh at it too because you hear too much of those
Hey,
pharmaceutical
no
ones.
worries. I get it a lot. He's the most famous Rogan out there. So or maybe the only famous Rogan.
Hey, not with that attitude.
That's right. That's right.
Or with that, I don't know.
It's like, we need to work on the confidence of this
Not
guy
with
right
that
now, too.
attitude.
Yes. Yeah.
Actually, I bet the joke with the band name earlier because of the whole thing with the side effects in like pharmaceutical commercials where they always like give you the underlying side effects like what this drug may cause. That's like
I might steal that from you. Yeah. Side effects of listening to us.
Yeah. It could include relaxation,
Right.
moving one's
Limbs.
limbs and body around. Yeah.
I would say side effects may include psychedelic experiences such as nausea,
Well,
vomiting.
yeah. Hey, yeah, undoubtedly.
Hey, we don't condone or not,
Right.
not condone.
I was trying to figure out what that sort of rule is. You had to like say like, we do not condone or don't or anyone
Yeah,
liable for this sort of thing or two. So
Can neither confirm nor deny. That's the political one. Yeah.
The statements represented by side effect do not. The opinions of side effect.
all right, sounds good. All right. So jumping here to the next question, I guess, who would you say was really a big influence? And Peyton, here you could start. I guess who was an influence in your bass style, and I guess any other instruments that you do play in your other projects?
Well, I really I take influence from a lot of different stuff. As far as bass stuff goes, I really am into Charles Mingus. As far as like the like kind of old guard, I really like all of his stuff. I really like Avishai Cohen, somebody that these guys have hipped me to over the years. I also take a lot of inspiration from like hip hop, Chuck English. I really like people like Asher Roth, Wu-Tang Clan, MF Doom, Tribe Called Quest. All those kind of cool hip hop people. Really like the band Tycho. I really like how he takes solos and the interesting sounds that he makes. There's a guy who runs a record label out in San Diego called 31G. His name is Justin Pearson. So I take a lot of inspiration from that guy. He makes a lot of like punk rock and noise rock and that kind of crazy stuff, and he uses his bass in a way that is not like a bass. And so I take a lot of inspiration from just a different way to use your instrument, So that's my short list.
Incredibly short story list, if we wanted to say that. So actually, just real quick before I hand off to Rogan, I guess, do you normally play with a pick,
Yeah.
or do you sometimes experiment with your fingers when it comes to playing your bass lines?
I mostly play fingerstyle. I do have one song with us that I play with a pick. Rogan doesn't like the pick as much,
It's hard for me, but I'm working on it.
but with a little bit of palm mute in the pick, it can have a cool vibe with some flat wound strings and P bass,
Just some simple like don't,
Oh, yeah.
don't, that whole deal. So
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just what the doctor ordered.
oh yeah, or certain side effects. So yeah,
yeah.
we're gonna run that with that joke all night here, people. So strap yourselves.
Hey, that's all right. If it works, go with it.
Yeah, we'll take it. The shoe
Oh,
fits.
yeah. All right, Rogan.
Yeah. What was the question?
Influences.
He gets too
Influence.
distracted.
Right.
Side effects may include he's short-term memory loss.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, memory loss,
Losing track of what we're talking about.
zoning out. Yeah.
It was a It's about influences. So I guess yours is interesting because I don't know too many, I guess, people who would consider famous who actually play the vibraphone or xylophone or anything else. So
Yeah, well, actually, that's a great starting point for my influences.
Actually,
Yeah.
this guy.
No, because now that you mention it, there aren't really a lot of vibraphone players that I would say that I'm influenced by. Gary Burton. So for any vibe players out there, don't jump on me. Gary Burton, shout out Gary Burton. He's incredible. But honestly, I don't actually listen to a whole lot of vibe music, and part of that really is just because there's not a whole lot out there comparatively. I mean, there is stuff, but the stuff that influences me the most tend to be probably mostly piano trios, so piano bass drums in the jazz world, and so like Go Go Penguin, Bad Plus, 3IO, those are a few, and so most of my playing on the vibes is actually coming more from influences from I guess piano more than anything else. And I consider in this band it's almost just as much for me about writing and arranging as it is soloing. And I know in jazz so much of the emphasis is on soloing. And it's certainly something I love and I work on. But I would say really it's equally for me as much about the writing. And so there again, a lot of what I don't know, just what really excites me is coming more from piano. So, and that's I could those bands I just mentioned, their piano players are probably some of my bigger influences right now.
I know you mentioned about drums earlier, but it seems like he was looking for an excuse to actually hit something earlier with drums. Then afterwards, he's like, "Yeah, tone it down a little bit." So we're gonna jump on the vibe. We still hit things, but we're not hitting it as hard. So there we go.
Right. Yeah. It's very different than drums, but I don't know. There's something about whether it's mallets or sticks in your hand. It's just it just feels right. So.
I think for reels and maybe like short videos, you should like show them like hit people over the head with a mallet, that whole deal. Like just make funny like Three Stooges sort of side effect noises.
Yeah.
Well, they like
right. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's another one of those things where you think about most people's experience with, again, xylophones or whatever they know that you play with mallets. I mean, it's like, I'll mention that, and people bring up like, oh, I remember banging on those in elementary school. That's kind of the association they have, and then when they actually, if you hear some music or something, it's like 9 out of 10 times it'll be in a cartoon or something like that, where you actually hear a xylophone play. Yeah, like a Tom and Jerry, chase scene or something like that. There's a xylophone part in there, so understandable that you'd go to the Three Stooges. Right. Yeah.
Well, it seems like most people seem to fall for like the funny sort of videos. So if I'm maybe just throwing something in there, might get you some more views or likes and some social media aspects, and that help out with the algorithm too.
Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely.
You didn't hear it from me, so
okay. Hey, we're open to any advice. But yeah.
Actually, we'll be giving some advice later here too, but let's hear Koda's influences here.
Yeah. Well, I grew up. I have a lot of the similar influences as mentioned already by my two colleagues. But I definitely grew up like with the classic rock, like 60s through 80s, like classic rock, even through 90s and stuff. So all that stuff, Led Zeppelin, like Black Sabbath, Aerosmith, all that, and then didn't really get into jazz till I started learning drums. And then now I'm not really into jazz that much, except for like piano trio stuff, like some of the bands Rogan mentioned, like Go Go Penguin and stuff. But I don't really listen to a lot of traditional jazz. I'm definitely of the generation that like internet, so kind of because of that, I've kind of listen to a lot of stuff, but mostly kind of stick to the pop kind of genre. As kind of as basic as that is, just like good old white girl pop is kind of where I'm at most of the time.
Hey, Dua Lipa is doing some awesome stuff these days.
Yeah. So, but yeah, and I really like drummers that kind of play a little bit less. I feel like it's really popular, like on Instagram and stuff, to just see people like flying around on their instrument and like blowing your mind and playing as fast as they can. But to see somebody kind of express themselves with a bit more space and a little bit less notes is kind of really cool to me always. So, yeah.
It's just as a white girl pop. I thought he was going to be one of those Swifties. I was like, oh God, not another Taylor Swift. Another victim to add to the casualty list or something like that.
Yeah.
That's all cool. So I guess, how many other projects are you guys all involved in? I guess, like say for instance, is it like Rogan and Peyton in like one, and then Koda, Peyton in another one?
I'm in another. I'm in. Let's see, 2 other projects other than this one, and then you and I are possibly looking at another one.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and then you're doing this, and
Yeah, well, I'm actually a rare time. I'm at that classic. I'm in between projects right now. So yeah, for the moment, this is actually the only thing I've got that's actually up and going. But always looking for stuff. So
yeah.
I'll be out there drumming again for sure.
Yeah, and kind of same with me. This has been my main project as of lately, and moving into 2025. Gonna spend a lot of time in with these guys, as we always have been. But I also play percussion, just hand percussion, with Kerry Morgan and Ghost Dog, who's kind of a local legend, if you will, in kind of the northern Colorado area. So
He's really good.
He's older. He's in his 60s, so that's been a really great experience for me, and I've learned a ton playing with him. So
That's interesting. I guess.
Don't you also play with a Grateful Dead cover band as well?
yeah,
Once in a while.
yeah. Now and then, yeah, play some Dead tunes. So for sure, yeah.
Managed to rock out to Alabama a getaway. So yeah,
Yeah, played that last show. Yeah.
absolutely. So I wanted to bring that up because this can kind of tie in with COVID right here too. So, so I guess we'll just start off here, and then we can like jump into the group afterwards, like how it was affected by it. But Payne, how bad was COVID for you personally, family wise, and then musically?
Well, Rogan and I have a story for you.
Yeah.
Got around, folks. Got around the campfire.
Do you want me to start, or do you want to start?
Jump in. You're going. Yeah.
Oh well, okay. So as Koda mentioned, he started taking lessons with Rogan, and Rogan, you worked at this lesson studio, or you?
I owned it.
Well, no, but
Yeah.
at first, back when Becca O'Brien owned it.
Yeah.
So
I
you
started
working there, and then
teaching there.
and then you bought this lesson studio in Loveland, Colorado, and then obviously Koda. That's where Koda started taking lessons. I actually started learning how to do guitar repair with the guy that we were in, the guitar player that was in the band that we were also in a band with for years, whose name was Joey, and so yeah, it really was Joe and Rogan.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Back to that. Yeah. Joe and Rogan. We heard a lot of
full
jokes.
circle.
Right. Yeah. And so we I started learning how to do guitar repair there, and then eventually Rogan got this opportunity to purchase a record store in town, and we combined the lesson studio and the record store together. Or, well, you did,
Yeah.
and we helped paint.
We all. Yeah.
And Koda actually started teaching there, right?
That's my first job teaching. Yeah. At the
Yeah.
record, yeah.
And
Which
so-
had actual lesson studios and stuff.
Yeah, Rogan built lesson studios in the back of this place, and that was in 2019. I was able to quit my job in food service, and I took up the repair side. I took over the repair side of the business, and I was repairing like turntables and stereo equipment, as well as guitars, basses, and some amp stuff. But then 2020 hit, and the rent didn't go down, the sales didn't go up. Here, I'll hand the microphone over to someone who had a little bit more stake in the game there.
Yeah, so there you go. There was the introduction to it. Yeah, so that's for me, I guess it's really both the personal and the music kind of combined, because I mean, hey, we're musicians, right? There's no real separation between music and what's happening in our personal lives. They always get intertwined. So yeah, I ended up the first year that I owned that shop in 2018, when I combined the two shops on the record store and everything, it was going pretty good. It was good times, and then COVID came and we had to shut down for a while. I think we were shut down for 2 months or so. And when we opened back up, it was looking a little maybe hopeful there for a little while, but through the next year, it just never came back like it had been before. So I ended up having to let the shop go. It's sort of complicated. I won't get into all of the details, but short story is I had to abandon the shop, and so that was really hard. Like Peyton was saying, before that I was gigging regularly. I was teaching through my own shop and just owning the shop. So I was in a lot of ways I had achieved some of my real goals and dreams as a musician, which was to be to the point where I was 100% making my living as a musician. And I certainly considered that, between those sources, I was, at least check that box, and so yeah, it was really tough to have to let that go. But I guess trying to look at some positive side of it, I think like a lot of people during those early times when there was, everything was shutting down, and there were lines to get into the grocery store and masks everywhere, and during all that phase when we really didn't know where it was all going. So like a lot of people ended up spending a lot more time at home and alone, or having Zoom calls with friends and things like that. During that time, I ended up buying a lot of gear and upgrading my home studio, and really digging in on my own practice time, and kind of getting back to doing a bunch of recording. So that was at least something good that came out of it.
Yeah. Blessing in disguise, to say the least, here too. So I guess Koba, what was your story?
Yeah, kind of similar. So obviously kind of just stopped everything in the tracks. Same thing, kind of what I was saying earlier. I just being the youngest, I'm 23, so I actually graduated high school in 2020. So
Crazy.
I forgot about that.
So yeah, so my I went to like a tiny alternative school, so we were the only school in the district that had like an in-person graduation. So compared to my peers, like they just graduated kind of over Skype and stuff. But so I think it was probably actually easier for me just because I was younger and just like coming straight out of high school, just kind of getting launched into that. I could just kind of like, I didn't have like so much like 30 years of like neurons and like brain things built up to kind of really push back against that. So I think it might have been a smoother adjustment for me than if I was a little bit older. but still really hard to, being a young musician and wanting to get out and play as much as possible and stuff. I didn't really start gigging a lot until the last like a year or two. So that whereas, had I done it like in a perfect world, I would have been out of high school like gigging perfectly. I didn't go to college or anything, so would have been like gigging a lot more out of high school, but I just couldn't with COVID and stuff. So I think overall, I had a smoother adjustment. Probably.
One thing I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to make a joke.
One thing
it was just going to be like, I got to get out of here. That sort of deal. So,
Yeah.
But what were you going to say, Peyton? Sorry.
Oh, sorry. One thing I think that we're all still feeling from the COVID time is that pay for bands went way down.
Yeah.
We were
Didn't go back up.
yeah, we were making, not hand over fist, but we were making ends meet. Yeah, playing, the bar gigs and stuff like that before. And then it sort of felt like once quarantine ended and people started getting back out and gigging again, everybody was so excited to play that they would be willing to play for beer or for exposure or whatever, and that became the new norm, and bars never really started paying musicians again. So, and we're still feeling that a little bit, and so it sort of feels like, they talk in the 30s when band, like small like jazz trios and stuff like that really started becoming the thing rather than like the big bands because people didn't have the money for the big band. I think about those times, but all the bands were already small bands before, and so now there's just less money. So.
I was going to ask about that too, because I was curious how bands, let alone like venues and other places in your neck of the woods, have been like since COVID. I guess has it been kind of on the up and up, or is it kind of going back to what we talked about with covers and tribute bands?
It's I don't know. I don't get out that much and see too many shows these days.
Yeah.
I'm with these guys.
No, there's like places.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like the venues are, pretty much back up and going and stuff. They're, still filling their time slots and everything, and of course, no shortage of bands that want to get out and play. So, yeah, I think in that sense, we're back. Like Peyton was saying, there's the pay hasn't gone up with the times, but I think at least it seems like people are coming out to see music, and certainly the venues, there's some venues have gone, but other ones have sprouted up. So it definitely doesn't feel like, in terms of kind of total numbers, I don't feel like it's gone down.
That's fair. Yeah.
That's great to hear. And I guess, were you guys all okay? I guess, did you guys get real sick at all? Yeah, you and your family is okay?
I think I caught it once or twice, like during like 2020, and then I caught it like again, like maybe like a year ago or something like that, and I think it's really starting to become less of an issue now, but I don't know. Don't quote me on that. Right.
It was just
Opinions of side effect do not represent the opinions of side effect.
We will not be held accountable or liable for any damages
Yes.
or sicknesses caused. So,
Yeah.
I guess all jokes aside right here, it's good to see you guys are doing well with their mates. So keep it on going.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
For sure.
And
Thank you.
and you too. And
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I meant to ask this earlier too, because I wasn't sure. Are you more strictly just instrumental, or do you sometimes write lyrics down?
For the most part, we're mostly instrumental. I don't think we have any, for the most part, We don't have any lyrics in any of our songs at all.
Not just for the most part. Yeah, this is just an instrumental band.
Yeah.
No intention to have lyrics in it. I know there is some jazz out there that has vocals, but that's not something we have either done or are looking to do. So.
I guess, did you attempt to do lyrics before, and it was like, that just doesn't work. Let's just ride
No.
with no,
With,
then just
with
put
the
it as
jazz,
electronic.
with the jazz stuff, I don't think we've ever done lyric stuff or haven't had a singer or anything like that.
No.
We've played in like rock bands and blues bands and stuff like that with singers, of course, but not so much with the jazz. We sort of really just kind of stick to the instrumental side of that world. So
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. Just wanted to cover
That pretty much covers it. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I did tell you the question. I was like, what do your lyrics talk about there too? But all right.
Yeah. We saw that.
I saw that. We were like, well,
we don't have lyrics.
We don't have lyrics.
Actually, it's always like, well, we're instrumental. So I guess the music you try to do you try to maybe convey a story or maybe some sort of message in it?
We have themes, I think, right?
I feel like we have like our songs can kind of be split like two ways. We kind of have like vibey, groovy songs that are kind of just like jammy, groovy vibe songs, kind of like, and then we have kind of songs that would be more on that like kind of selfish musician side of us. It's a bit more technical, maybe a bit more notes. Yeah, but I don't know if that's fair.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good explanation. But yeah, I wouldn't say there's necessarily a message, so to speak, or there's actually a song that's we're working on just right now. I wish I could remember the specific term for it, going back to my music education, because there's a it'll come to me as soon as we're done. But there's a specific term when you're trying to make music that represents something. How do I say it? Quite literally. So, if the name of the song is Ocean, you are trying to make that song sound like the ocean. It might even just be impressionism. I don't know. Anyway, so right now we're working on a song called Winter Sunset. It's one that I wrote a version of years ago, and I've revived it. So that's actually a rare case where I actually really do want it to bring about that kind of imagery, that kind of feeling of seeing a winter sunset. But
it's the same song we used to play back in the day, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So and so this is an original song that he wrote way back in the day.
Yeah.
And I do think that it really did kind of invoke a winter sunset.
That's the idea.
Reinvent it for the new version of Side Effect here.
Yep. But I would say that's the exception. Actually, most of the songs are really just written to just sound hopefully like cool music.
Yeah.
We meant to please and entertain. So yeah.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, sounds good. But I guess what's our gear? I guess Peyton will start with you. I guess what gear do you have to make the magic happen?
Oh, too many bases, as per usual, as is everyone's want to do.
There's always one in each group. So.
With this, right? Well, I mean, we'll get to these two over here. Well, mostly this guy. Yeah, we're all into gear though. I use in this band I mostly use P basses. I like Fenders. I like Fender basses. I mostly use a P bass, and I also actually have a Squire Music Master. It's a little short scale bass that used to be sort of just like the student bass at the lesson studio that we all worked at back in the day. And I always really loved that bass. And then one day Rogan just gave it to me, and I was like, oh man, this is really cool. And he gave it to me with the caveat that I had to use it live at least once, and it's probably the bass that I use the most in this band now. Just because I've got some really old dead flat wounds on it, and it just kind of has some vibe to it. It's a sonic blue, and it's been sitting in the sun for years and years, and so it's gone a little seafoam green.
It's cool. It looks cool.
Yeah.
We used to call it the toothpaste bass because it has a white pickguard,
Right.
and then the foam green. It was joked as the toothpaste bass.
Yeah. So, and then I use some effects and things like that. I've got I just got a way huge pork and pickle that I actually really enjoy. Boss 5. I run a Pigtronics bass compressor. I've been experimenting with a phaser. I don't know how that's going. I've been thinking about adding maybe a tremolo or maybe some reverb or something like that. So that's all the time I'm going to take. Here, Rogan, tell them about your cymbal decks.
Yeah. We'll have to do the quick version. Otherwise, we'll need a whole other podcast just for gear. So I have a studio that I built in my home, in my basement. So I've got all the normal sort of studio stuff for a home studio, project studio. It's not a pro level studio, but recording cables, mics, all that kind of good stuff. A couple keyboards, and then I've got, I think, 8 drum sets. I think I'm up to 8 drum sets. My vibraphone, of course, and then, as Peyton mentioned, I'm a little bit of a cymbal addict. So yeah, that's one of my little sort of features, I guess, when other musicians come over and see this studio. It's the cymbal shelf. Yeah, it's
a shelf that's built into the wall.
Yeah, built into the wall to hold cymbals and other percussion.
About this wide, and it goes floor to ceiling, and it's full of cymbals.
Yeah, I have a lot of cymbals. I love my cymbals. So yeah, that's my gear world. And I want more cymbals. There's still more I need. I need more cymbals.
I'm gonna say, should we call this hoarding, or is this an addiction at this point?
Well, I actually, it's a healthy addiction. Yeah, I use them all. I mean, eventually. Yeah.
I was gonna say eventually he gets to it. So
Yeah.
One
They'll get cycled through one way or the other. It's exciting to have, that you're doing a recording or something, and you're like, oh, this is the perfect spot for that one cymbal that I haven't actually played or taken to a gig in 5 years, but this one recording needs that cymbal. So that's how I justify it.
I guess so. Do you do all the recordings in your studio there, Rogan?
Yes.
Yeah. All the studio recordings, like some of the videos we have up, where it says in the studio. That's my studio, and then the recordings that we release, like we have a song called Nine Phaser out, and that was recorded at the home studio as well.
I recorded the bass line for that in my home studio. We all have the same
We all have
software
our perspective. But yours
Yeah. We all
That's
use
what we practice.
Presonus and the Studio One software. So
Yeah.
yeah.
My gears, like, I'm a drummer, so all the drum stuff, tons of hand percussion, few drum kits, cymbals, but I also play a vibes as well. So I have a vibraphone, and I also play bass as well. So I have a bass and a few guitars. I have like a Strat and just a cheap Ibanez bass, a little piano and stuff. So I just try to play as much music as possible. I have enough stuff where I can kind of like play something that's music, whether like, I don't know, I can find something that's playing music that'll be really interesting and help me throw it. That's enough instruments to do that, which is really cool. So always just be playing something. So
yeah,
but mostly drums.
It seems like he picked up the residual ones that Peyton and Rogan did in one. So
Right. Actually gave him one of my old drum sets. So.
Yeah.
And we have one of his drum sets here at my house.
Yeah. My main side effect kit I bought from Rogan. Yeah.
That little kit that you have is really cool. It's the Questlove
Yeah.
signature
Yeah, the
kit.
little Questlove kit, the
Yeah.
drummer from the Roots, and so
Yeah, that's a good kit.
Yeah, that's a cool
little
kit.
small size.
Yeah.
It's
No, it's cheap too, right?
Yeah, they're pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
affordable.
Yeah.
Affordable. There we go. Yeah,
There
it
we
doesn't sound good if you
they're
say
more
cheap.
affordable instead of cheap. So when you say cheap, it's probably made in China, for instance. So no deal. Okay. So moving on here to the next one here too. So I don't know, which one of you guys handle the social media? Do you all take turns in it?
Yeah, we kind of take turns a little bit.
Probably mostly Peyton.
I
I
take
mostly you.
I run most of the Facebook side of things like that. Koda is mostly in charge of like the Instagram and we I don't think we have a Twitter, do we?
No,
No.
no Twitter.
Yeah. I guess we're not
Yeah, exactly.
we're not going to start
We're
not going to start a TikTok account right now.
Not anymore.
Might date
Yeah.
when this was recorded.
Yeah.
My days of TikTok are over. So
Yeah.
that too. But leading to this question here, I guess, what do you guys make of the social media and even the artificial intelligence these days? I guess you feel like there's a need for it, or do you think it's maybe a little too invasive, if that's probably the right word?
AI is a little weird. I'm a little weirded out by it, but I don't think I'm that scared by it. I don't think I'm that worried. You know, I think I was, but I think I've settled on that we're always going to need, as musicians, we're always going to need that human touch to the music. You know, you can teach an algorithm how to, you know, spit it out a chord progression or whatever, but like that doesn't mean that it's going to feel good, you know. And yeah, I don't know. I'm not that worried yet.
It's like you will be. So yeah.
No, I was gonna say, man, you're more optimistic than me. Then I guess I'll try not to get too high on my soapbox here for too long on this. But yeah, I think where do I even start? Technology in general with music is absolutely can be such a great tool, and I think AI has the potential to be a really good tool, but unfortunately, I think like so many of the tools, it's, you know, when misused or run amok, I think we're we're steadily and not even so slowly really starting to sort of devalue music, and I think AI is just taking helping us take a huge leap in that direction. So I unfortunately don't see a whole lot of. I'd be, you know, good in it. I'd be totally fine if you know, it could wave a magic wand and just say that AI will have no place in music at all. You know, I think I feel like we're giving people bigger and bigger pieces of the music puzzle to work with. To where, I don't know how to explain that, you know, to where it used to be if you wanted to make a drum beat, you know, you needed a drummer to actually be able to play it and have that skill and that ability. And then you start getting into, you know, the ability to record and mix takes, and then you get drum machines, and then you get the ability to just completely make drum beats just using software. And again, I think all this stuff, you know, has its place, but it's just been this progression of. That's what I mean by little, you know, you're giving people this access to these sort of bigger pieces to work with, to where somebody can just say, oh, okay, you know, give me a drum beat, and now with AI, it's you just have the whole thing. You don't have to work with any of those little pieces that actually create a drum beat. You can just say, yeah, give me a drum beat that sounds like, whatever, X, Y, or Z. And so, yeah, I mean, now you've got people creating entire songs with AI, and you say, we always need that human element, but I don't know how much you've heard, but it's getting scary now to some of the songs that are 100% AI created. And man, some of the stuff I'm hearing, I'll be honest, I couldn't tell you that it wasn't a real person, or people making it. So
Yeah. I don't.
So yeah, I could go on, but I won't. There's my time on that for the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a way for Koda to top that?
Yeah, pretty much. I think it's definitely here to stay, and like it'll probably end up like impacting us, like the internet, or like even more so. There'll be some sort of big AI thing that'll just be like permanently in our lives. But again, just going back to that, like just being the youngest, I think that kind of that both like advantage and disadvantage, where like it kind of smooths it over just because I'm a little bit younger and can kind of like all those concepts aren't so like crazy and weird maybe to me, but also like I don't know. I'll just live closer to seeing the destruction of humanity.
Yeah, I think that there's a potential for AI to be used for good, to like really take us towards closer to that sort of like ideal Star Trek kind of society where you don't really have to worry about like things like banking or whatever, and then freeing up the rest of humanity to pursue things like music, art, poetry, making the world a better place. And then, yeah, it is scary when it's like, oh, we can just use this to pump out, kind of, stamp out hits one after another or whatever. That's a little scary, but I really do think that hopefully we it will get some benefits from it eventually, hopefully.
He's trying to tiptoe around this whole Terminator deal. So
right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully we could just be at one point be
I
like,
love
Scotty. So yeah.
love AI,
Yeah.
and I think our AI
Are you
overlords
listening?
are awesome.
Well, hopefully at one point we could just be like, beam me up, Scotty.
Assimilate me painlessly.
So, be simulation. That'll do. So
Resistance is futile.
Yeah.
give up, give in. You can't resist. So yeah.
And as far as like social media stuff goes, I really do think that the landscape is so much different than it was in like the 60s, 70s, 80s, even like 90s, early 2000s. I remember there was a time when I was coming out of high school, really, telling people that they hey, this is what I want to do. I want to play bass. I want to be out there playing, and people would be like, you should not do that. That's a really bad plan. That's not a viable plan. That's not you. In order to be in the industry, you already need to be in the industry. That's kind of how it works. And it was like, okay. And so, but I think it's really cool that all three of us have our own digital recording software set up in our own homes. We can share files back and forth on the internet. Koda's a wizard on all of the, like he can make all the files go into like these like internet Dropbox folders and stuff like that, and share them all with us old guys. And so that's opened up kind of this world where it's like back in the day, I feel you used to really be beholden to like a record label, and you kind of had to play ball and do what they wanted you to do. and play the kind of music that they would want you to play, or they wouldn't promote your band or whatever. And I really think that there's an opportunity for us to like find our niche as our niche audience out there, and and really to the people who we can speak to, even if
trying to reach.
even if our audience never grows beyond like 500, 10,000 people, hopefully we get more of an audience than that. But if we find the people who our music makes them happy and gets them their day, like, hey, that's for me, that's my goal anyway.
Yeah, and that is where social media and just the that's the good side of the advancements in technology and stuff. Right. The ability to have a home studio and to self-produce and all of that kind of stuff.
That you're saying, like, people have a bigger piece of the puzzle, a bigger piece of that music puzzle, and like the production side of everything like that. It's kind of that double-edged sword, where it's good and bad a little bit.
Yeah.
Where it's you do have to do your own promoting, and you have to be your own promoter. You can't just rely on a record label to kind of push you out there and get your stuff out there. You got to do it yourself, but it gives you a certain amount more freedom, maybe.
And control.
Control. Yeah. So set our own deadlines for things and stuff like that. So
we get to be our own boss. So
yeah.
I'll do what I want. So yeah, that'll do.
I can't give myself a raise though, because the coffers don't look great.
I gotta share it with these guys next. That's the thing. So, because it keeps them happy and keeps them going back here too. So, all right, thanks so much for sharing it too. But I think you can tie in with this question right here. I guess even with the AI and social media, I guess what sort of challenges have you guys really faced these days as musicians?
Man, money. we've covered that a couple times here already. Scheduling, scheduling can be tricky, especially when we're in a couple different groups. I'm in another group called Hot Fruit. We're gonna start playing out here a little bit more, and I still play in a kind of a duo thing with the guitar player that we keep talking about from before, and so just trying to like make sure that like, okay, this, Rogan will be like, oh yeah, these guys want to book the band. Are you available this day? No. Okay, what about this day? Okay, yeah, we can do that. Koda can't do that day. So scheduling, and then the third thing that I always have trouble with is just motivation. Motivation to get up off the couch and get in the studio and lay a bass line down, So I don't know if you guys struggle with that. I do.
Mine's usually I have the motivation. It's hard to get the time to go down and play. It's almost the opposite end on that one, I guess. So
right.
I want to go down and be in the studio, and I don't. There's too many other bands in life that I don't get as much time as I want for studio stuff or whatever. Just practice.
Right.
When I say studio, to me that encompasses everything I do musically. It's go down to the studio and do music. But I guess for the band, and maybe something that could sort of apply more generally to the music world out there. I think classic one, but getting gigs booked. That one's particularly tricky, and I do most of the booking. These guys definitely do some too, so I don't want to be unfair. But
you do
that's something. Yeah, I do most of the booking, and especially for the region we're in, northern Colorado, and being a jazz band, that it's tough. There's not a whole lot of places out there to get into, and then the ones that are there, It's a pretty small and tight knit world in the jazz world, and just frankly speaking, I think there's a lot of snobbery involved in it, and it's very much an insiders club kind of thing. So the people who have those gigs on lockdown, it's really hard to break in and
to break into the scene.
Yeah, and so that's an ongoing challenge, and I'm sure that one that other musicians, whatever genre you're in, can relate to. I think there's some of that against not just the jazz world. It's like any genre, there are those clubs, we all know about it. Yeah, where it's like, oh yeah, there's the same 5 bands that are on regular rotation there, and you start hearing about when you get more of the inside story, it's like, oh well, this guy is friends with the guy who does the booking, and this guy is knows the person who knows somebody, and so there's just so much of that. And then again, I think in the jazz world, you take that and then you shrink the available pool of gigs by a factor of 10, and so it's definitely a tough world to try to break into, but we're staying on it. We're persistent.
Yeah. Getting there.
That's right.
Yeah. Slowly and painfully, if we wanted to maybe do it that way.
Yeah.
So mentally speaking. So
yeah.
I don't know if Koda wanted to throw anything in.
Yeah, kind of just same as everything these guys were saying. Just say maybe patience would be another way to phrase all that stuff. It's just like being patient with all this stuff. Be challenging. Like patient with yourself, and patient with cooking, all that, and just kind of giving yourself the time to kind of see that progress and that growth. So
Koda's the wise sage.
That's right. Yes.
The silent sort of sage, he kind of sneaks up on you with words of wisdom. So
yeah,
let's see what.
Yeah.
When we get too much into our old grumpy, cynical mindset, he just comes in with some very simple, pleasant, happy state and puts it all into perspective. And you sort of go, oh,
And you're like, oh,
yeah, okay,
all right. Okay, fine.
Dude, it's like, damn, this is some good shit right here. So
right.
I think I have to apologize. I think I've been saying Copa the whole time, not Koda. So I think I apologize. So, apologies made. So hopefully I haven't been saying it too much. I think it started trending towards that as we kept going along slowly but surely. So, all right. Thank you guys so much for sharing that too.
Computer audio.
Yeah, we're listening to you on the computer speakers right now. So
I guess that's good then. Maybe it blended in at that point. So, hey. So boys, we've reached good questions here, pretty good. So here, let's get into the fun ones. Ready?
sure, yeah.
Right. So go from Peyton. We'll work our way down. We've been doing like what we have been doing the whole interview here. But Peyton, what would you say is currently your favorite food? I'm curious if there's a particular Colorado dish we haven't heard about.
Oh man, there's a place here in northern Colorado called the River Forks Inn, and there's a guy there named Jeff, and he makes the best green chili in northern Colorado at least. And man, for my money, just the best green chili I've ever had. So Jeff's green chili up at the River Forks. Come stop by. They're open Fridays and Saturday nights. Sometimes I'll be playing there.
Unpaid and unsolicited
Yeah.
promotion, right? Well, my favorite food is not a Colorado tradition at all. Sushi. Sushi is got to be easily my favorite food.
I'm stealing this. Rogan, not kidding at all, makes restaurant quality sushi and regularly does for parties for us, and it's awesome. It is awesome being in a band with this guy.
Yeah, love eating it, love making it. It's a secondary passion.
It came with the benefits whenever you guys signed up for this. So
What's that?
I would say it came up with the perks and benefits whenever you signed up for a side effect. So
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Koda?
Oh, probably just like bread, or like I really like bread, or like
That is good.
Oh, I love you, Koda. You know what? You know what? Bread is good.
That is very good. With butter?
With butter.
anything.
Oh my God! You ever had? That is awesome. Yeah.
I say he's just eating bread, man. You are well thin for what you eat. So, all right, I'll get to him. I do have to say, sushi is slowly taking over. I can't tell you how many times I actually heard people mention sushi in all the interviews I've had so far. So,
Yeah.
if it's not that, it's the Italians. So,
Okay. Yeah.
mostly pizza. So, I'll tell you that.
Right.
Oh, I
Pizza.
will also say my wife makes an awesome sausage gnocchi soup.
Oh.
I really like that. It's good on a cold winter's day.
That sounds good.
It is good.
And you're like, all right, I see you. That whole deal. So, good catch there, Peyton. So, Peyton, here for the next one, I guess. What would you say is currently your favorite movie? And if you have a favorite TV series you like to share, go ahead.
Man, favorite movie? I don't know. We recently watched Muppet Christmas Carol again, and man, that is a banger. That's a really good one. My wife and I also really enjoy watching a show called Dimension 20 on a streaming service called Dropout. It's I don't know if you know Brennan Lee Mulligan, sort of a Dungeons and Dragons show that we like to watch. So, shout out to Dimension 20.
Boy. Favorite movie, I guess. I'm a big sci-fi guy. And I'll go with Children of Men. That was one of the tops.
I never saw that. I need to see that.
It's incredible. Yeah, see it.
I will.
Yeah, easily top 5 all-time sci-fi movies. You know, at the moment, I'll give it the number 1 ranking. And then TV shows, boy, I don't know. I'll stick with the sci-fi theme. There was a show called Sense8. Yes, it was like a limited series, so I don't know if it technically qualifies, but yeah, if anybody out there is looking for some good sci-fi stuff and haven't seen either of those, Sense8 was amazing, beautiful, just a beautiful series. And then Children of Men, I don't know how emotional people are out there, but be ready to cry, but incredible movie.
Okay.
Yeah, and well, I have a Shrek tattoo, so probably Shrek is
You
my
do?
favorite movie. Yeah,
Oh wow.
I'll show you.
No, right now. No.
Yeah, so Shrek is the best movie.
Huh.
But you know, I don't really watch a lot of shows. Actually, I'm not unfortunately not much of a show guy. It's kind of lame.
Hey,
Miss
that's
out
okay.
on a lot of shows, but yeah, I don't know. Shrek.
There we go.
Shrek.
The Shrek and more Shrek. So, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I dare you to find anything wrong with either of those two things.
Yeah, nothing wrong with either one.
It's his choice. So, I mean, you know, he's going balls to the wall when he has a Shrek tattoo. So, I was like, bye-bye. See you later. All right. Great choices there, nonetheless, you too. So, I don't know if you guys drink, but if you do, what's your favorite alcoholic drink? And then what's your favorite non-alcoholic drink?
I enjoy a hazy IPA these days, and I really enjoy my morning coffee.
That's
Hard
to beat.
Yeah. A little wake up juice.
Alcoholic, I've relatively recently discovered Scotch. And it's like I always hated whiskey and bourbon and stuff like that, but got to try a really good single malt Scotch, and yeah, changed my life. So for alcoholic, that's what I'll go with. And then lemonade. Really like lemonade. Hey, here we go.
Good one.
Hey.
Well, Mike's Hard Lemonade. So, yeah.
I'd say probably like mimosas are my favorite.
Mimosas.
and just good old water for non-alcoholic.
Hey.
Gotta hydrate.
Add that
We-
to the list. Bread and water.
We've got good tap water here in Northern
Yeah.
Colorado, you know?
do. We have really
We
good
really
water.
do.
We do. Yeah, you can just drink our water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can thank the mountain gods for that purified
Yeah.
water.
Yes.
This comes down
Exactly.
to.
Yeah. That good mountain water.
Yeah.
Protect that environment, people. Come on. Work with me.
That's
Yeah,
right.
right? Yeah.
Oh, great choices there, nonetheless, you too. All right. And for the last one, this might put you guys on the spot, but here's how it goes. What would you say is currently your favorite song? If you want to list one from the independent community, you can feel free to share. But I guess if it comes too tough to name just one song, just name a band or bands. if you want to.
All right. So I'm actually gonna I've got it's a specific EP from a band. It's a band called Glass Beams. It's their EP called Mahal. It's got I think 4 songs on it. I think it's technically 5 tracks and one's just like an intro. But that's what I've been really vibing on these days. I really like that one.
Current favorite, I'll go with a song called Window by Go Penguin.
Well, so you really like Colin Farrell that much, don't you? So Penguin.
I'm missing the
Yeah,
reference.
I'm not Colin Farrell.
actually, it's kind of a joke because he's playing the character called the Penguin in the Batman series.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
That's right. Yeah,
That's
that
right.
actually
He's-
looked like a good
Yeah.
series. I haven't seen
Yeah,
it.
it does look good.
Yeah, no, Go Penguin's a jazz band. So pretty,
No, I just wanted to throw that joke out there too. So
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
wanted to-
thank you. Got that.
And of course,
reference.
us old guys were
We're
like,
like, what?
huh?
I finally get it. I think Copa got it. I think Koda got it. So.
Oh shoot! There's just too much intro. That is tricky. That's tough. But I've been really into like some modern flamenco. I don't even know the artists I've been listening to honestly half the time. But really been digging just like putting on a flamenco station and going listening to whatever comes on. Really like that music in cajon. I think it's just such a cool instrument. So.
Right on. Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys so much for
Yeah,
sharing.
Pick up.
I thought he was going on a list there too. I wasn't too sure. So sometimes they do. All right. That's all good there too. So thank you guys so much for sharing there too.
Yeah. Thank you for having us on, man. This has been so much fun.
Oh yeah.
Thank you so much.
We do have one more question left, but I guess
Yeah.
before we jump into it, would you guys like to ask me anything? I guess since we got 3 here, Peyton, and then we can work down the line. If you guys want to ask me a question apiece.
I mean, sure. How did you get started with the podcast here?
That was a blessing in disguise because of COVID there too. Because I think
That's
it was,
fair.
I was looking back. I think it started in 2020, but I think I was just trying to do drum covers, and then 2021 I decided to branch out and do podcasting because I've been researching it for a good while at that point.
Nice.
So at first I thought it was like, oh, you have to like describe like this and that too. So, but then like seeing like what we talked about earlier, like Joe Rogan, it's like just guys having interviews or conversations, talk about this and that. So even though his, I think
Yeah.
it talks about it in profession and then it kind of like branches off maybe at philosophy at times. It's kind of like what we're doing here. So we kind of talk about this and that sort of shit too. So,
Fun.
Yeah.
Cool.
so there you go.
Yeah, so I think you might have sort of already answered this, but I was wondering what your musical, back. I'm assuming that you're a musician, given that you've chosen, music is the main thing for your podcast. So,
Oh, you'd be right.
what's
And
what's your
You're a drummer, right?
yeah, I'm a drummer, and I actually
Yeah.
okay?
I actually got a new drum set. Santa came not too long ago, and he actually gave me a new drum set for Christmas. So,
Sweet.
oh yeah, it's a Roland VAD 706. So it's still
Okay.
electric. So, but
Yeah.
I dig it. It allows me to really branch out and do a whole lot of things.
Yeah.
And it's like a standard set too. So
Sweet.
there was that, and then I like doing the metal stuff because I get a nice workout from doing that stuff. So
Metal. Oh, nice. Yeah.
I respect jazz and all the other ones too because I know how crazy and tough jazz can be at times. So I have huge props to you guys.
Yeah, playing double bass is super
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
It's just really fun.
I honestly think that like modern metal music is sort of like the modern equivalent of like classical or like
Some of it is for
really
sure.
really like it can get really technical and heady. So yeah, I'm really
Music
into all that kind
Yeah.
of really hard stuff as well. So yeah.
I guess like who's your favorite guest you've ever had on your show?
Yeah.
Well, the one I would say that normally is well known. His name was actually Dallas Toller Wade, and he actually had played in various metal bands. One most notable was actually Nile. I don't know if you guys know that.
Yeah, the like the Egyptian metal band, right? Yeah,
Correct.
they're cool.
He was one of the frontmen, also one of the vocalists and guitarists, and then he went off and he does his own thing with Narcotic Wasteland. So he was most recognizable, and I would say one of my greatest achievements getting on the podcast.
That's really cool. Yeah, yeah.
So I think to answer, I would say him, but everyone's been unique in some sort of way here too, because I've interviewed people in around the States, in around the UK, and Europe, even a few out of Australia. So
Nice.
Yeah.
it's all good. And actually,
Yeah,
one out of the Philippines.
that's cool.
Can't leave one out of the Philippines. So, all right. Anything else?
Yeah. I think that's all I had.
All right. There's nothing else. Here's how the last question goes, and Payne, we'll start with you, and then we'll just work our way down the line like we've been doing. So, given what COVID has done, I know you guys kind of struggled a little bit with that little side business you were trying to do right there too, but I guess it seems overall COVID wasn't as bad as it probably could have been. But for those musicians and people who have been impacted by COVID or dealing with anything else in their lives, like an addiction, what sort of message of hope can you give to those musicians and people out there as they try to move forward with their lives?
Never give up. Just keep doing it. It's kind of a piece of advice I heard recently, and kind of took it to heart. And I don't know if it was just that I'd been doing it for that long, or if it was just the attitude change or whatever. But I heard that just keep doing what you're doing, and eventually something will stick. So that's it. Just keep at it. Keep fighting the good fight. Keep working. Take it day by day. I guess that's all I have. Here.
I guess mine, yeah, is I think there's always going to be a place for live music, and so as much as I'm pessimistic about what's happening, I think recorded music is, we've lost that as far as real appreciation for musicians in that format. But I think that there's people are always going to want to see people make music in real time, live, right in front of them. I think there's just something so human about that that's not going to go away. And so for musicians out there, that I would say to remember that and really dig into that, and to just really cherish any time that you get to play live at all. And so that could be a big concert. If you're playing big shows, then awesome, but it doesn't have to be that. As I look back on my musical journey so far, I find that more and more, some of the most special times were jam sessions in a living room where there was 10 people total.
Yeah.
Or even just a good practice session with just you you go in and you play your instrument. And so I guess in terms of a message, of hope, that would be it, to just remember that any time you get to play your instrument, that's something special, and sharing it with anybody else at all is special.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say like also just like remembering why you play music, or why we started playing music in the first place, and kind of, or just taking a moment to reflect on that and ask yourself these questions and kind of keep that in towards the front of your awareness. And maybe it's not such a simple question. Why do I play music? But kind of just like it goes beyond like bright lights and glory, or like just forcing yourself to like do it every day. So it's I think there's something really deep there that it really connects with like very like a true meaning of who we are or something like that. So yeah, just kind of remembering why we play music in the first place. That's that.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, and spoke like a bunch of true prodigies. So, in all seriousness, thank you boys so much for sharing right there. So it really does mean a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
So everyone, we reached the end of my podcast right here. We're just shy of about an hour and 40 some minutes, but I guess before we close out right here, want to give any shout outs, any final words, and what social media and streaming are you guys on?
You can find us on any of the streaming services, right, Koda?
Yes, find us on any of the streaming services on Side Effects Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Our Facebook's kind of our big social media.
It is, yeah. We've kind of got most of the following there, but we also have a YouTube channel. Side Effect Jazz is usually the handle. Instagram at Side Effect Jazz.
SideEffectJazz.com.
Yep. Go to sideeffectjazz.com and get you all your Side Effect Jazz needs.
That's right.
Met there. So, yeah. Do we miss anything?
I don't know.
I
Yeah.
was going to say, got any shout outs?
Check out our song. Check out our song Mind Phaser. It's Fazer.
Be on the lookout for more.
And and be on the lookout for more.
We're always in the studio and always playing. So
Yeah. So
That's good. I guess real quick, what's your plans for 2025? I know you mentioned the Mind Phaser, but I guess got any shows lined up? Any new songs in the future?
let's see. Oh, do you guys know when the shows are?
Yeah.
I know we've got one coming up.
7th.
Yeah, February 7th at Scrumpy's Hard Cider.
Scrumpy's Hard Cider in Old Town,
In Old-
Fort Collins,
Yeah,
Northern Colorado.
It's the next one coming up. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
We have a few more on the books.
yeah. Big goal. Oh, March 28th, I believe, at a place called Black and
Blue.
What is it called?
Music and Brews.
Black and Blues Music and Brews. Yes.
That.
Yeah. Place in Loveland. And big goals this year. We want to really try to push and get into some more of the festivals. And
We've submitted to a local festival here called Foco MX. It's kind of like a local musician festival here in Fort Collins. Fingers crossed. Hopefully we'll get in.
Yeah, we'll be submitting to City Park Jazz Fest in Denver.
Yep.
hopefully getting into that one.
Yeah.
That'd be a
Big
good
one.
one for us.
Yeah.
So that's the goal. Just keep getting out there, growing it, and
Keep writing more new original groove jazz.
Yep.
All right, sounds good. So to close out like this, everyone, my guest today was Peyton, Rogan, and Koda. They live in a lovely state of Colorado right here, but they're part of their own little group, Side Effect. So hopefully you got no side effects from this whole interview right here, such a short-term memory loss, nauseating, and among other things there too. Bleeding of the eyes or something like that there too. So
Yeah, hopefully not.
hopefully not, but we are not liable for any damages or deaths caused because of this interview too. So, but nonetheless, go support our bros out there too. So we have all social streaming platforms. You know where to find these guys. And if you see them in your neck of the woods, go listen to the show. Now I entertain you guys like in Gladiator. So, okay. So everyone, thank you again so much again for coming on here. So you stay safe because you know it is a crazy world out there. Rock on.
Thank
Oh,
you.
yeah.
I need a pose
Thank you
real
so
quick.
much.
Everyone pose. Stay tuned, y'all. Good.